The miniMOTO segment has one defining rivalry: Honda's Grom against Kawasaki's Z125 Pro. Both carry roughly 125cc, 12-inch wheels, and sub-$4,000 stickers. Both promise outsized fun, but their engineering priorities diverge in ways that decide which one actually belongs in your garage.
The two singles are far more different than their matching displacement suggests. Honda's 124cc air-cooled SOHC 2-valve engine measures 50.0mm by 63.1mm, dramatically undersquare, with a stroke that dwarfs the bore. Compression sits at 10.0 to 1, fed by PGM-FI through a 24mm throttle body. Kawasaki inverts the formula. Its 125cc SOHC 2-valve unit runs 56.0mm by 50.6mm, distinctly oversquare, at a milder 9.8 to 1 compression, with DFI and a 24mm throttle body. The result is two different personalities. The Kawasaki is the rev happier, claiming 10.0 horsepower at 8,000 RPM and 7.1 pound-feet of torque at 6,000 RPM. Honda doesn't publish output figures for the US Grom. Independent sources commonly cite roughly 9.7 horsepower, but treat that as unofficial. What isn't in dispute is the Grom's low RPM pull. That long stroke delivers usable thrust off idle, where the Z125 wants revs. The Grom runs a 5-speed manual with 420 chain final drive on 15T 38T sprockets. The Z125 Pro makes do with a 4-speed return shift gearbox and a sealed chain. On a 30-mile-per-hour side street, the difference is academic. On the 45 to 50-mile-per-hour arterials that define small bike commuting, it's decisive. Honda's 5th gear gives the Grom a genuine cruising ratio, letting the engine settle rather than scream. The Kawasaki's 4-speed forces wider ratio spacing, so top gear doubles as both the acceleration gear and the cruising gear. You either buzz the motor or lose drive. Riders who spend time above 40 miles per hour will feel this on every ride, and it's the reason the Grom is generally considered the more usable everyday machine despite near-identical power.
Both bikes use a steel backbone frame and a single rear shock with 4.1 inches of travel, but the front ends differ in a way you can see from across a parking lot. The Grom gets a 31mm inverted fork with 3.9 inches of travel, genuine sport bike architecture scaled down, and a meaningful upgrade in rigidity and road feel. The Z125 Pro uses a 30mm conventional telescopic fork, also with 3.9 inches of travel, in an offset lay-down shock chassis. Geometry splits them further. The Grom carries 25 degrees of rake with 3.3 inches of trail on a 47.2-inch wheelbase. The Z125 runs a steeper-feeling package on paper, 26.0 degrees of rake, but a short 2.7 inches of trail and a tighter 46.3-inch wheelbase. Kawasaki's setup makes for a flickable, twitchier bike that changes direction on a thought. Honda's longer trail and wheelbase buy a bit more stability at speed and over broken pavement. The Grom mounts a fat 120/70/12 front and 130/70/12 rear, wide, planted, and a big part of why it looks like a shrunken Street Fighter. The Z125 Pro wears a narrower 190/12 front with a 120/70/12 rear, which reduces steering effort and contributes to that darty feel. Braking favors Honda on paper. The Grom uses a 220mm front disc and 190mm rear. The Z125 Pro counters with a 270 front and 184mm rear, both pedal style. More significant than the diameters is what's available. Honda offers front-wheel ABS on the Grom ABS trim, while Kawasaki offers no anti-lock option on the Z125 Pro at any price. For a bike aimed squarely at new riders navigating traffic, wet paint, and sand-strewn intersections, that's a substantive safety gap rather than a spec sheet footnote.
The Grom's 30.0-inch seat height is one of the most approachable in motorcycling, and Honda pairs it with thick padding that makes the bike tolerable for taller riders on longer stints. The Z125 Pro sits at 31.7 inches, a 1.7-inch difference that sounds trivial and absolutely isn't in a class where a large share of buyers are short inseam riders, teens transitioning off scooters, or adults returning to two wheels. Kawasaki's dimensions elsewhere are compact, 66.9 inches long, 29.5 inches wide, 39.6 inches tall, with 6.1 inches of ground clearance. Both bikes use upright bars and a neutral, unaggressive riding triangle. The practical distinction is confidence at stops. The Grom lets most riders flat-foot with room to spare. The Z125 Pro asks for a bit more leg.
Kawasaki lists 224.8 pounds curb, 209.4 pounds dry for the Z125 Pro. Honda quotes 224 pounds for the standard Grom and Grom SP, rising to 227 pounds for the ABS version, the anti-lock hardware costing 3 pounds. That parity removes weight from the decision entirely. Neither bike is heavy enough to intimidate, both can be muscled around a garage by one person, and both deliver the class's core appeal. Small enough to park anywhere, light enough to make modest power entertaining. The differences riders notice trace back to geometry, gearing, and seat height, not mass. Honda gives the Grom a fully digital multi-function display with speedometer, tachometer, gear position indicator, and multiple trip meters, plus an LED projector-style headlight and LED taillight. Everything on the bike, engine, exhaust, wheels, swing arm, is blacked out for a deliberately edgy look, and the bodywork uses a plug-and-play mounting system designed for easy panel swaps. Kawasaki takes a different approach with an LCD screen paired to an analog tachometer, integrated fuel gauge, and gear position indicator, a combination some riders find more characterful than Honda's all-digital layout. The Z125 Pro gets a sharp LED taillight, sporty turn signals, distinctive shrouds, and a lower cowl, plus Kawasaki's Smart Regulator, a microprocessor-controlled charging system that maintains output even at idle. Honda wins on lighting technology, Kawasaki wins on dash personality. Kawasaki carries more fuel, 2.0 gallons versus the Grom's 1.6. Honda counters with an EPA-derived combined estimate of 160.5 miles per gallon, a figure Honda notes is for comparison purposes only, but one that theoretically stretches that small tank past 250 miles. Kawasaki doesn't publish a comparable economy figure for the Z125 Pro, so a direct range calculation isn't possible from official data. In practice, both go a very long way between fill-ups, and fuel cost is a rounding error in ownership either way. The Grom's smaller tank is a packaging concession, not a real limitation. The Grom starts at $3,599 in cherry red, pearl white, or candy blue colors. The Grom SP adds matte black metallic paint and a standard undercowl for $3,699. The Grom ABS lists at $3,799 in pearl white. Destination is $300. The Z125 Pro spans $3,799 to $3,999 in pearl robotic white, metallic yellowish green, or cipher camo beige, with a $315 destination charge. In other words, the cheapest Z125 Pro costs what a fully ABS-equipped Grom costs. Both carry 12-month transferable limited warranties. Aftermarket support is the other ownership factor, and it's lopsided. The Grom's decade-plus cult following has produced an enormous catalog of exhausts, big bore kits, suspension parts, and bodywork, plus an active club and racing scene. The Z125 Pro's following is respectable, but nothing on that scale. The Honda Grom wins this comparison, and not narrowly. It costs less at every trim level, offers a fifth gear the Kawasaki simply doesn't have, sits 1.7 inches lower, brakes with larger discs, rides on an inverted fork, and is the only one of the two available with ABS. Add the deepest aftermarket in the segment, and the case becomes difficult to argue against. The Z125 Pro isn't beaten badly, it's beaten specifically. Its over-square engine is willing at the top end, its short trail makes it delightfully flickable, the analog tachometer has genuine charm, and Cypher Camo Beige is a color Honda won't sell you. If you want Kawasaki's Z family Street Fighter styling in miniature and your riding stays under 40 miles per hour, it delivers. But for most buyers, commuters, new riders, anyone crossing a 45 mile per hour road, the Grom's gearing, ergonomics, braking options, and value make it the smarter purchase. Buy the Z125 Pro because you want that specific bike. Buy the Grom because it's the better one.